Hi, and welcome to this episode of TBLT on the Task-Based Language Teaching channel. I'm Lara Bryfonski, and I'm excited to talk with you today about the role of teachers in task-based language teaching. As a former language teacher myself, this is a topic I've been particularly interested in, and I hope you will be too. I'm an applied linguist and researcher at Georgetown University, where I researched the empirical investigation of different approaches to language teaching, with a special emphasis on TBLT, teachers, and teacher education. So diving right in, how important are teachers in TBLT? With student-centered and peer-to-peer interaction and negotiation of meaning highlighted as key elements of TBLT, just like in other communicative student-centered approaches to language teaching, the role of the teacher has been previously criticized as being downgraded or cast aside as a manager or overseer of activities. So what then is the role of the teacher, and how important are teachers for TBLT? We know from prior research on teachers in TBLT that teachers are the agents of change who bring a task-based curriculum to life and determine its effectiveness. Without their support, it's unlikely that any pedagogical innovation like TBLT can succeed. The importance of the role of the teacher in TBLT has been highlighted in prior research, requiring more expertise in the science of second language acquisition, specialized training, and resourcefulness than teaching in a traditional grammar-based or textbook-based approach. Teachers must work with students to identify their needs or goals for the use of their target language, design or adapt tasks, and scaffold them for learners at a variety of ability levels, and tailor input and corrective feedback during task-based implementation, and assess tasks and student outcomes, and make changes to lessons or curricula as needed to account for student development. This all demonstrates why research on the role of teachers and teacher training is critically important. So if teachers are critical to TBLT, what do we know so far about their role from research? We know that task-based teaching is shaped by teachers' experiences. And there's a fascinating array of prior studies that examined how teachers' prior knowledge, their own experiences learning languages, being a second language speaker of the language they're teaching, their years of experience teaching, and just the apprenticeship of observation of being students themselves in language classrooms, their beliefs about the effectiveness of different pedagogical practices, and their experiences working with younger versus older learners or lower versus higher proficiency learners shape their understandings of TBLT, task design, and implementation efforts. So far, there's a lot of success for teachers working with TBLT, but we also know that teachers face many challenges. Earlem has a famous study about teachers leaving a task-based teacher training program and reporting back to her, "I'm still not sure what a task is." You're going to see some quotes from teachers from other research studies I've been a part of here. In one, a teacher is sharing their fears about lessons ending in disaster if not enough grammar was pre-taught. A teacher participant in another project shared that it's a challenge that no task is, quote, one size fits all, and that all tasks need to be tweaked so that particular learners or particular learning contexts can be served properly. A teacher from a recent professional development program I taught shared about the difficulty in deciding how much to pre-teach versus let students try themselves, lamenting that students could sound, quote, really ridiculous without enough grammatical knowledge before starting a task. We know from research that teachers need support to design or adapt tasks they can use in their classrooms, find appropriate task-based professional development opportunities, and to actually take what they learn in PD to their classrooms and implement the tasks they designed. Research on task design skills has uncovered wide variation in how teachers create tasks or adapt tasks, such as from the TBLT task bank or other repositories. Some examples of this are that some teachers might add more interaction to tasks, make them more or less complex to better suit the needs of their students, or they might teach a less commonly taught language and therefore find that most existing tasks need to be translated, or at least adapted to meet the needs of their target language. This body of work has demonstrated teachers require ample professional development support and time, among other resources, to create and implement tasks. Doubt might still linger about the exact characteristics of tasks and how they should be implemented even after a teacher professional development program. We know that teachers need support to get access to professional development opportunities should they want to learn more about TBLT. In some regions of the world, TBLT is more common, like in New Zealand, where a lot of fantastic TBLT researchers work. However, here in the US, TBLT is less commonly discussed in K-12 world language teacher communities, and there are less opportunities to learn more for this population of teachers. Luckily, a variety of online and in-person initiatives are available to teachers who want to learn more about TBLT independently, or for teacher educators to infuse into their practices. Some examples include a Coursera course like the one colleagues at University College London have designed, the Task Bank Initiative at Indiana University, and my own course funded by the StarTalk program and free for teachers of critical languages in the US called Georgetown StarTalk TBLT. Finally, we know that teachers need support to put tasks to use in their classrooms. Interesting research shows the effectiveness of task-based professional development programs that teach teachers in a task-based way, through modeling student-oriented tasks and guiding teachers through content and teacher-oriented tasks. This is how we designed our StarTalk training for critical language teachers. In our training, we find that teachers need ample opportunities to engage with, critique, and design tasks. A common discussion that we have in these trainings is how to best incorporate grammar or vocabulary without turning our tasks into grammar-based activities. Our in-service teachers are facing the challenge of working with pre-existing school or district-mandated curricula, where they may not have flexibility to make changes. We've noticed in our own program, and think this applies more broadly, that it is essential to follow up with teachers after they leave to ensure they can enact the strategies they learned about in the PD. To give you a brief example of what I mean by TBLT professional development conducted in a task-based way, our free summer of professional development program funded by StarTalk provides critical language teachers with 120 PD hours on TBLT. In our program, we model TBLT by having our teachers experience tasks they might use in their own classrooms. One example is when we ask teachers to get into small groups, instead of just telling them where to go, we demonstrate with a jigsaw task where each table member has different clues about the other members of their group, and they have to share and interact to figure out the correct group. We made connections to other common real-world tasks to also work with a similar task setup like following directions or event planning. So what can we do about these obstacles and challenges that teachers might face in TBLT, and where do we go from here? First, I'd like to advocate for more researcher-teacher partnerships. I think the StarTalk program is a good example of how researchers and teachers can interface to learn and grow together. I got to learn about the challenges facing teachers considering using TBLT, and they got to hear about the research that supports the usage of tasks in language classrooms. The Task Bank is another good example of promoting tasks vetted by experts and organizing them in an accessible way so that teachers can borrow and adapt them. This can help with the challenge of time needed to develop tasks. TaskGen is another tool that can help teachers automate the process of task creation. It would be great to partner with more teachers through action research projects to see how these tools are being utilized. I'd also like to see TBLT initiatives expanding into more pedagogical contexts, like USA K-12 schools. There are already some great initiatives in higher ed, like the MeBridge, a task-based open access Spanish language curriculum designed by a team of researchers that centers Blackness in Latin America and Black language learners. I'd love to discuss with more teachers some of the obstacles they see towards integrating more tasks into their classrooms as world language education in ESL programs. I'd also advocate for making TBLT research more accessible. If research isn't available and accessible to teachers, it's unlikely that we'll be able to promote the kinds of partnerships that I just mentioned. Open access initiatives like OASIS, the Open Accessible Summaries in Language Studies, and the Task Bank are working towards this goal. But most importantly of all, we should work together and form communities of practice, pooling resources and experiences rather than working in isolation. As I end, I'd like to highlight the key points that have been discussed related to the role of teachers in TBLT. First, we know that teachers are critical partners in TBLT and that their experiences and beliefs shape how they approach task design and what they take away from PD programs. Teachers also require support to engage with TBLT. This support should come from a variety of sources. First, programs and school admins need to give teachers time and resources to engage in professional development opportunities. Second, researchers need to ensure we can provide clear explanations of tasks and are talking to teachers about what they want to know and learn, and this could happen through more research partnerships with teachers and schools. Finally, teachers can learn from researchers and from each other from engaging in communities of practice and with open science, open access resources. To conclude, there's no TBLT without teachers. Teachers play a crucial role in the successful implementation of TBLT, and without teacher buy-in and support, it's unlikely any TBLT initiatives can succeed. Some suggestions for future study: you should definitely check out our StarTalk program by visiting startalk.georgetown.edu. In our TBLT tab, we have resources like summaries of key terms in TBLT and SLA, infographics, and other resources for teachers and researchers. If you have more time, there are a variety of reading options here that range from more research-focused to more teaching-focused. On the research-focused side, you can check out Task, a journal published by John Benjamins that focuses exclusively on TBLT research. The Cambridge Elements series is also great to check out because they offer shorter, more digestible summaries of domains of research, and there's one on TBLT by Jackson. Finally, my book, co-authored with Allison Mackey and published by Cambridge University Press, The Art and Science of Language Teaching, is a teacher or teacher-educator-oriented text that provides summaries of what the research does and doesn't say about various aspects of second language learning and teaching, including concrete ideas to use in your classrooms. We offer a chapter dedicated to TBLT in our book as well. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Once again, I'm Lara Bryfonski, and thank you so much for watching.